on the sound principles of imperial system of the federal type well established in the land. The monarch was not absolute and his actions were well regulated by religious injunctions. That the king was benevolent and his beneficent actions were felt over a great distance is noticed by Yuan Chong. The king devoted his personal attention to details of administration and spent most of his working time in the audience chamber or one of the battlefields at the head of his forces. He toured his kingdom constantly and fixed the camp in different places so as to keep in touch with all parts of the realm. The law of primogeniture was strictly adhered to with regard to succession to the throne. Generally, the reigning monarch appointed his successor as Yuvaraja who helped him in administrative activity. The conquered territories were, in many cases, left in charge of the respective rulers whose submission was accepted by the imperial suzerain. For the purposes of administration, the empire was divided into Vaisayas and Rashtras. The provincial governors were mostly related to the king. Another practice followed by the Chalukya monarchs was assigned to the newly conquered provinces either to the ruling sovereign's brothers or sons. As mentioned earlier, Pulaksine II assigned to his brother, Vishnuvardhana, the Andhra province after defeating the Pallavas. Then after subduing Lata and Malva he placed another of his brother, Jayasimha, as the viceroy of Gujarat. This practice was continued by his successors. Sometimes women of the royal family were appointed as viceroys of the provinces. For instance, Akadevi, sister of Pulaksine II and a princess of the Chalukya family, was not only in charge of a province but took part in wars as well. Some provinces were ruled by feudatories and others by independent allies. The provinces were denoted by numerical suffixes as Banavasi 12,000, Pulagere 300 and etc. Grama was the lowest unit of the administration. It had its own popular assembly consisting of heads of all families in the village. They constituted the Mahajana of the town or city. The heads of the village assembly, the Gramakuta, was the Gauda. The Mahajanas assisted him in the administration of the village. The king sought the assistance of those popular assemblies in administration of the charities, protection and promotion of education, mobilization of the militia in times of necessity and organizing public festivals and fairs. A special reference may be made to the local functionaries like the Patanaswami or Patanaseti who was the head of the town or city. There also existed in the Chalukyan period, which continued its functions even later, the 500 Swamis of Ayavol, who are also popular as Vairabananjas, or the Guild of the 500. This body exerted much influence on the king's offices and in addition to carrying on their profession of trading in jewelry etc., with defensive weapons and also a scepter and a royal charter. They successfully discharged diplomatic functions and even acted as intermediaries between the kings and avoid circumstances of war or hatred between the kings and thus bring about peace and friendly environment in the dominions. King was the fountainhead of justice. He was the final court of appeal. The village courts decided disputes arising in the villages and rural tracts. The prevailing political condition and their constant wars with the Pallavas necessitated strong defense for the Chalukya kingdom. They maintained the traditional four-fold divisions of the army: infantry, cavalry, elephants and chariots. The war chariots were of small size drawn by one horse. Among the weapons of warfare are mentioned swords, shields, spears, clubs, lances, bows and arrows etc. That the Chalukyas maintained a well-organized and efficient navy is borne out by their victories in the west coast. The splendid success of the Chalukyas in the direct irons speak highly of the administrative organization of the period. Social and economic condition. During the times of the Chalukyas of Badami, the social and economic implications of the caste institution had come to be realized fully. The Chalukya rulers subscribed to the view that it was their duty to uphold the social order. The existence of the four major castes and professional castes were noticed by Yaunkwang, who visited Badami during the reign of Pulaksine II. The Brahmanas were wedded to the principle of simple living and high thinking. A Brahmana by name Dhruvasama was proficient in the Veda, Vedanga, Kavya, Purana, Natyasastra and other sacred literature. He also performed yajnas and other sacrifices. This shows that the Brahmanas adhered themselves strictly to their duties. They were also respected by other members of the society for their learning and character. The Satrias who came next pursued the Ksatra Dharma to the letter and spirit. Yuan Kuang had naturally extolled them. The third Varna included both the traders and agri.